Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GameKheyl. My name is Naveed, aka Barely Average Gaming, and our guest today needs no introduction. If you Google his name on YouTube, you'll see videos upon videos of various big name streamers, YouTubers, and everyone just talking about playing the best player in UFC 3, the best striker, how technique is, what he does. There's a lot of content, and at the same time, there are a lot of haters. There are a lot of naysayers. There are people who have their doubts, who have things to say about this man. In UFC 1, UFC 2, UFC 3, this man has been undeniable, and he is the unstoppable force named Mr. Ed Parker. Ed, how are we doing today?
It's good, man. It's good. I'm doing great. Nice weekend so far. It's fight night tonight. My boy McGregor is fighting Dustin Poirier, so I'm excited. It's good. I'm excited.
Yeah, just before we start this interview and get to know a little bit about you, just a quick shout out to everyone who's been a part of GameKheyl. We've had some of the best gamers in the world, the streamers from this UFC 4 community, and we're going to make sure that more of you get the spotlight as quickly as possible. And before we get into a bit about yourself and your gaming journey, just a quick thought on tonight's card. What are your predictions?
My predictions, right? I don't know exactly everyone who's fighting, but I think one of the boys is going to take home the win. Sean O'Malley's going to easily win, and McGregor's going to win as well. I'm hoping. My heart and soul are praying that he wins. I'm hoping.
Do you have like a Mystic Ed prediction, so to say?
Mystic Ed. I'm going to go second round knockout from McGregor.
Second round knockout. If that works out, this is definitely going to get clipped. Anyways.
Mystic Ed, I can say.
Mr. Ed, yeah, I think that's something we came up with only here at GameKheyl. All right, so Mr. Ed Parker, we've seen your presence in this game for quite some time. You were an unescapable force in UFC 3. You were absolutely undeniable in this game. And again, like I mentioned, there's content over content on YouTube, on Reddit. You are someone that is someone who everyone has been speaking about, so to say. But how did this journey start? Were you a fan beforehand? Were you intrigued by the game? How did it happen?
So I've been around martial arts for since I was quite young. My dad used to do martial arts and was all around that stuff from a very young age. So I grew up on watching Bruce Lee movies, watching fights from Mike Tyson, Vander Holyfield, all those guys. So yeah, I've been around it for a while. So I've always had an interest in like boxing, UFC. I'm not as big of a fan as I am now, but I'd watch all the big fights and stuff like that. But when it comes to the game, I started off in the UFC mobile game. That's where I started. I started like just buying little crates to pay to win. You know, just how I started off. And I used to play that and grind until I could afford a PlayStation. I used to watch Ricky J, Marshall Mind, MMA Game, all those guys. Just thinking, can't wait to get my hands on it. And then when I got it, it just like that was it from there. I just started playing and playing and playing. I saw there was a competitive scene for it. I was like, all right, that's it. I do nothing else. I'm just going to get to the top of it. And here we are, a few years later.
Well, you mentioned a few names out there like Ricky J and a lot of other content creators in the community who have actually played a big role in getting this game to where it is now. Do you have any specific or favorites amongst all of the names that you've just mentioned?
They're all great guys. I mean, I've spoken to them all personally on numerous occasions. They've helped me out with the growth of my channel. But it's got to be when I won a few of those Ricky J tournaments back in UFC 3, definitely that tops it. Yeah, they're all great guys.
Yeah, I actually got introduced to Ed Parker, the player, because I would always see you in the ranks. The first time I really familiarized myself to you was one of those tournaments from Ricky J. So who was paved the way, and we see a lot of different communities popping up now. But for everyone who's watching, I think these are the real pioneers of the esports combat community. There's like I mentioned, so again, with a lot of skill comes a lot of criticism. There are a lot of people who have a lot of things to say about the way you play or the way you carry yourself. I read the specific Reddit chat in which there were certain very crude accusations against.
Is it the Ed Parker is an arsehole one?
Yeah, that would be the one. So just to hear your thoughts on those things, is it something that you don't really care about, or just to get your perspective on those things?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game. Everyone has to wake up and go to work in the morning. But at the end of the day, no matter how invested you get into it, no matter what character you try and play, it's a game. And you're holding the controller in your hands, and that's that. And there's a lot of weird people on the internet. And sometimes you get into a debate that's a bit too serious, and you're just like, why do you even bother? I mean, it means nothing, but yeah, it happens all the time. I'm expected to win if I'm playing an esports fight. It's like, oh, it's just going to smash him. And then if I don't win, it's like, oh, he's washed. He's trash. He's never good. He can't even do this. I'm like, it's just a game, mate. It's just a game.
And that's something that the community needs to remind itself quite a few times. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a community which really takes care of its own, but at the same time, there are
destroys itself as well. It destroys itself.
Yeah, that's true. And hopefully the community is going to sort itself out with these things, but at the same time, it is what it is. Speaking of another person who takes a lot of criticism, we actually had T4H Rehan about a couple of weeks ago, and
yes, we did.
And you know, I asked him a question about how would he create his perfect fighter. And for every skill that he had, he mentioned a T4H player except for one, and that was stand-up. And he outright, without said the name Ed Parker. What do you think of his gameplay?
Firstly, I want to say I didn't expect that from Rehan. I gave him a lot of shit for the way he plays. It's just like just beat his ass about it, but it's all fun and games. I mean, he plays to win, and he's won, so you can't knock the guy. It is what it is. But what do I think of his play style? I don't like it. He knows that. No matter what nice things he says about me, I have much respect for giving him for that. It's not my cup of tea. It's not the way I choose to play the game. It's not fun. I like to get something out of it rather than just play for a win. And I don't know if it's because he can't do that or that's just wants to play for a win. I don't know, but I'm not a fan though. But it's effective, and you can't knock him for it. He's playing the way the game mechanics were designed to get the easiest win, and he's doing that. So don't hate the player, hate the game.
I think there's one thing that Rehan mentioned in the interview as well when I asked him the same question. And his answer was that if it gets the win, it's right there for me. So I guess he's going to agree to disagree with you on this one. But yeah, I mean, it's the different styles, it's the contrasting matchups that really make this UFC game what it is. So on this very subject of, like you mentioned, there are styles that you don't like, but there have to be people, there have to be players of whom you must be a fan yourself. Just to name a few, can you let us know who your favorite fighters or players in the community?
Oh man, I've got a good few. I've got a lot of the EK guys. I've got a lot of the CW guys. Izzy, Young Po, Spill, Davey H, Yerda, Mucho, Aaron. You got Unibot. You got Kinetic. You got lots of exciting guys. You got Blake Tyler. You got Suave Jamie. All these top guys who are mainly strikers. I'm always tuning into their fights. I might not be competing on the cards, but I'm definitely watching them, and I'm enjoying what I see. Swiss too. Swiss is a fan favorite.
I think one of the names you mentioned, Young Po, I believe you had a fight with him, CFL card.
Yeah. Say that again, sorry. You
well, you had a fight with Young Po on CFL about a week ago or so, I believe.
That
experience.
It was good. Young Po's tough. Me and him have had a lot of fights. We know each other's play styles. We know when we're going to do anything. So it can go either way. Young Po's one of the most patient guys you'll find out there on the feet. I used to have that back in UFC 2. I was like, all right, I'm willing to go all 5 rounds in this fight. But after a while, you keep playing. It's like, oh, I can't be bothered for this. But Young Po, he's new, he's fresh in the scene, and he's willing to he'll just tap your body. One shot, one jab for 5 rounds, and he won't care. So his patience reminds me of Advaita X. It's very good. He's got big things to come.
Good thoughts there. Just another thing on the follow-up to the previous question, and that would be, do you have that one dance partner or that one rival that you can really pin your hat to and say, yes, this is that one person that I believe has deserved the right to be called Ed Parker's biggest rival? Do you have anyone you'd like to name explicitly?
Man, my rival. See, I could say my good friend Izzy Easy. Me and him, I've had about 500 games with him in this game, which is the most I've ever played anyone. But he's my teammate, he's my buddy, so he's more of like a sparring partner, if you will. But my biggest rival, man, I'd have to say Gavin.
AK Gavin?
Yeah, AK Gavin.
All right. AK Gavin has been a part of a few GameKheyl tournaments previously, and
yeah, he's got a few wins on me as well, and I don't think he should have had, but you know, it is what it is. I'm passing.
All right, I believe AK Gavin would have a few things to say on that. At the same time, shout out to the AK team, or what it used to be, and everyone in the community really enjoys these kind of activities happening, like the tournaments, like the leagues. And you've been a part of a few tournaments yourself. Just when we were having a conversation before this interview started, you shared the link of this one $525 tournament that you ended up winning. Just get an insight into what's the mindset going into those tournaments, considering how big the stakes are.
Man, it wasn't always how it used to be. I used to get like really nervous. I was like, oh my God, the moment is going to be all this money in the line, these people watching, I've got to do something different. And that's when I'd like freeze up, or I'd do something I wouldn't usually do. And then that wouldn't be me playing. It would just be like a shell of myself. So I just, over time, I learned just to block out all the noise and just treat it like a quick fight. Obviously, don't take it too lightly, because if you don't jump on a knockdown, you might end up costing yourself $5,000, which I did a couple months ago. I didn't jump on a knockdown against toxicity, and he knocked me out on the feet afterwards. I was like, I had the fight done. I could have knocked him out and took $5 grand home after that, but I just didn't. I was like, all right, I know what to do now. I've got it. Don't take it too seriously, but take it serious enough. So yeah, you just got to block out all the noise. Just treat it as a spar. It's a quick fight. You could go up against someone in an ESFL title fight, and you could crack under the pressure and get smacked. And you can do a best of 5 for them after and just beat them easily, because there's no stress on you. So you just got to go in there with that frame of mind.
Absolutely agreed, because I think a lot of the people who fight in these cards soak up a lot of pressure, but at the same time, when the bright lights hit the face, they can freeze like deers in front of headlights. And,
I've been there.
And I believe for someone like you who've put in the hours, who've put in the effort, the more you practice, the more those repetition comes in, that muscle memory comes in. And at the end of the day, if you can really hold your own, the prize money will come for everyone who's watching. And like you mentioned, you've had a lot of successes prior to this as well, and probably a lot of them coming your way as well. And on that, I've seen you constantly. In fact, one of the descriptions on your Twitter feed is you're aiming to become the #1 player in UFC 4 as well. So it's been a wait for you, hasn't it? Because this game has come out for quite a while now. We are in season 8. What do you think is the pathway forward for you? How do you think you're going to get there?
Just playing more. It's easy to climb the leaderboards, getting a few rank wins against guys with high points. It's not difficult. I've done it before on each game I played. It just matters how much time you put in. I thought I'd reach it earlier than I did. When UFC 2 and 3 came out, I wasn't working full time. I was in college. I had the ability to play 4 or 5 hours a day when I was playing heavily. Now, I'm working full time. I've got other things going on, so it's difficult to find a window to hop on and grind the game like I used to. But we're making some changes. I'm making sure I'm playing a bit more than I have been recently. So that's going to help with that. But whether it's #1 on the ranked leaderboards, whether it's #1 on the esports rankings, mainly the esports rankings I'm going for the esports belt soon. So that's going to be good. I can't wait for that. So it's just time. It's just playing more. Yeah.
Yeah. So best wishes to you for that. And hopefully we'll see your name up in the rankings wherever.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Be good.
Well, speaking of your interest, like you mentioned, you've been into martial arts, you've been into boxing and mixed martial arts. There is a lot of buzz about the new ESBC game coming out. How excited are you, considering you are a striker by trade? How do you feel
I'm really bad at getting sucked into things. So if I was to just look at everything, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'd just be sitting there in excitement for however long it takes for this game to come out. So I try my best to keep my distance. I looked at the good bits, like a few of the gameplay features, and I've read up a little bit, but I'm not getting too invested just yet. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Of course, I'm going to play. I've got a gaming PC, so I can just play the beta when it comes out, because I know it's not coming onto console just yet. So when it does drop, it's going to be on PC. So yeah, as soon as it drops, I'm going to be on it, of course. I can't wait. And it's something new. We've not had a boxing game in God knows how long. And I heard they're making a new fight night as well, maybe. But yeah, I'll be on it for sure. I'll be smashing out Canelo Alvarez all the time.
Of course, I mean, there's a lot of buzz, like, a lot of excitement with the development that's going on. We really hope ESBC does not drop the ball on the expectations that all of us have for this game.
I don't want it to be a flop. Me and you both.
I don't think
flop. It's really bad. Well, I hope so. I hope not.
Yeah, and just a follow-up on the subject of delivering on the promise. UFC games are susceptible to whenever they come out, they require a lot of tinkering, and there's a lot of exploits in the game that could be disturbed. What are your biggest grievances when it comes to UFC? For I believe a few things have been patched out, but what are the things that you would still like to see improved?
I know they nerfed a lot of the submissions. I've heard a few people say it's fine and it's fixed. I've heard a few people say it needs to be nerfed even more. I think the nerf of the double and single leg bail was great. It's not as easy for someone to just grab a little bail and just pull guard and get on top. One thing I would say is how easy it is to get your back. You can get someone back in 2 steps. Literally clinch against a cage, take the back and jump on it. It's as easy as that, or drag them down to the floor. I think there should be like an easier way to block that, because someone who's good at cheesing it, like Rayhan, for example, respect to him, of course, it makes it difficult for someone trying to play cleanly to have fun in the game, and it puts people off. I think that's why a lot of people at the start of the game were saying the game was so trash, because they just come on and experience this shit, basically. So I think with a few more little patches, give McGregor a haircut and we'll be good.
And I think just on cue, you mentioned the name Conor McGregor. Everyone who's been around the community and knows you is in fact aware of the fact how big a fan you are of Conor McGregor.
Of course, I can't deny that. Nice. I can't even try.
Yeah, you just showed that for the interview. So I believe your excitement would be palpable come with the main event of tonight.
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I hope he wins. If he doesn't, it is what it is. I won't cry that much.
But at the same time, what are your thoughts to his rise and somewhat of a downfall, so to say? But what are your thoughts on Conor McGregor? How did you become his fan, and what captivates him about you? Oh, sorry, the other way.
Man.
How does he captivate you?
Oh wow! So okay, I hopped on the McGregor nutsack when he was just about to fight Jose Aldo. So I was like, didn't really watch UFC that religiously. So I was like, oh my God, this is sick. He's predicted all of his fights and he's got it right every time. So that was the first thing that made me go like, oh wow, that's cool. It's amazing. So I was sort of hooked with the trash talk. I became a proper McGregor casual before I actually learned everything else about the sport. And a big part of that still lingers in me today. I'm still the big McGregor casual I once was, but I'm like fans of other fighters as well, of course. Yeah, it was mainly that, like, just the hype around him was like the magical aura that I'm like, oh my God, this is sick. And then just getting so invested in it, the way he just knocked out Aldo, the way he dismantled Eddie Alvarez, and just how big of like historic moment it is. Like looking back in 10, 20 years, you're not going to see another person bring that sort of heat to the table, you know?
Yeah, I believe the kind of charisma or the way he carries himself actually changed the game for the entire UFC community. If you look at this moments that have shaped UFC to the point where it is now, you have to go back to the Stephen Bonner versus Forrest Griffin fight. And I believe that probably the second most important would be the rise of Conor McGregor.
Absolutely.
And again, whatever happens tonight, I might get a bit of grief for that. I'm rooting for Dustin, but again, we'll see what happens.
What time is that going to be for you? You're like 3-4 hours ahead of me, aren't you? So that's going to be like quite night time in the morning.
Yeah, the main card starts at 7 in the morning for me.
Oh, that's all right. It starts at 3 a.m. for me, so I'm going to set an alarm maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'm gonna roll as well, because I think I'm going to get a few highlights of the undercard, because there are some very good fights there as well. But
yeah,
I have to be up for that one. I don't want to miss it for anything.
No, the amount of times I've set an alarm for a big fight, and I just wake up and I'm like, oh no, I've missed it, and I have to look on Twitter for the results. No way I'm doing that. I'm setting like 200 alarms.
All right, so Ed, we've come to the business end of this interview. Just a few thoughts that you may have for the upcoming season of the UFC EA. How are you viewing this? Again, powered by ESFL. You may have a few things in mind for that one. How do you plan on approaching that?
I see this as my comeback sort of thing to the proper. I mean, I've had a few fights here and there, but this is where I come back and I'm competing every week, every other week, whenever I can. Just getting back into it, getting that esports belt, defending it a couple of times, however many times, getting both belts, that's the goal. It's not been like that in a long time since UFC 3, where I used to compete every week. So I'll be back, try and branch away from the classic, just McGregor every single fight. I'm going to try to use other guys, get back to my grappling. So I used to be really good at grappling in UFC 2 and 3, but I just need to warm up on it and I'm back where I was, just side controlling people. So I'm going to surprise a few people, definitely. And it's going to be good. Can't wait to get back in the mix.
I think this particular answer that you gave is going to put a lot of people on notice. And
I can't wait. It's going to be great. I have to shut a few people up, my friend. I'll shut a few people up.
Yeah, I really hope so, because again, for everyone who's watching this interview, is going to take notice. Again, like I mentioned, you bring in a lot of buzz for all the reasons, good or bad, but
never a boring fight.
Never a boring fight. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Ed, it was a pleasure to have you here. You've been
pleasure to be here, mate. All good.
Yeah, you've been the stalwart of the community. Again, there's a lot of things that people may have to say, but again, if it brings the eyeballs to the community, if it brings the excitement, if it brings the buzz, that's what it's all about. And again, for everyone who's watching this, it's just a video game. But yeah, if you're really good at it, it can do good things for you.
Yeah, it's good. When money's involved, it becomes a little bit more than a game. But you still got to play it for fun. You got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to excel. So that's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely agreed to that. Ed, it was a pleasure to have you here. Any final thoughts?
Likewise. I have nothing else to say. I just can't wait to watch the fights tonight. And I appreciate everything you're doing, man. There's not many people who do this kind of thing in the community. So keep doing what you're doing, and it's going to pay off for you, 100%. So yeah, keep at it.
Really appreciate the support there. We are going to do our best to get more and more talent from the esports community, both in UFC and in other games. So there's a lot of content that's going to come up. If you want to support, we will be sharing all of the links, including Ed Parker's, all the platform that he streams at pretty shortly. So you're going to find all of the links below. Again, for everyone watching, this is Naveed Zafar signing off, and hope to see you guys real soon. Peace.